Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is actually a sheet cake, but we're going to make a sugarless sheet cake. Now, if you're looking for sheet cakes that we use regular sugar, I have many of them. I have chocolate, I've got white, I've got, oh my gosh, a yellow sheet cake. So many videos on sheet cakes, but this particular sheet cake is made with no eggs and with no sugar. The only thing it's being sweetened with is an apple concentrate, okay, that you let thaw, okay, you want to, it's frozen, and then let it thaw out, and raisins. Now, this particular cake is not going to replace a sugared cake. I want to tell you right off the bat, this is really for somebody, again, that doesn't want eggs, or they don't want to have granulated sugar in their cake. So it's not going to produce the same look as a sugar cake, but it tastes absolutely delicious. And I'll explain more as I go along. First up, I'm going to use my stand mixer. For this large of a batch, I think you'll want to prefer to use a stand. But if you feel you want to go ahead with your hand mixer, of course, feel free. All right, what we're going to start off with is actually 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to just put that all into my mixing bowl. Okay. And you're also going to be putting in a ½ cup plus 2 tablespoons of baking cocoa. And this is the unsweetened, okay? So that's a ½ cup plus 2 tablespoons. And then I'm just going to stir this on low here. Okay, you're also going to put 1 teaspoon of salt in, and you're going to give that a stir. Okay, the next thing we're going to be putting in is oil, and you're going to need 2/3 of a cup of oil. Now you're going to decide what kind of oil that you want, okay? And I mean, I've used, you know, canola and vegetable, but you decide on the oil that you want to use, and that was 2/3, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to put in that concentrate. Once again, you're going to have to buy, you know, it frozen and let it unthaw. Now what you're going to need though is 1 cup of the concentrate, just the concentrate now. It's not mixed with anything, and put that in. That was 1 cup once it's unthawed. Now you're going to, of course, be needing water. So, and if you want to use cool water, that's about the best, or cold. It really depends, excuse me, on you. I have 2 cups of water plus 6 tablespoons plus 4 teaspoons. I know it sounds a bit confusing, but I'll go it over again. 2 cups of water plus 6 tablespoons and then 4 teaspoons. And I'm going to just start slowly putting that water in. And you'll want that to combine till it's nice and smooth. Now, you are going to have and need baking soda, but you don't want to put it in till almost the very end, and you'll need 3 teaspoons of baking soda. Now I'm going to turn this up here, so I want to warn you about the sound. And I'm going to put a little towel over this just so I'm going to raise my speed and I don't want anything to splatter. Now you'll want to really spend time beating this, and that's going to take you 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 minutes. It really depends on your speed, but you do want it well blended. Okay, I want to get to the bottom here a little bit and scrape the bottom. And then I'm going to turn it on for a little bit longer. Okay, I hope you can hear why that's beating. Now, you're going to need 3 cups of raisins. I'm using the dark raisins, and then I use my processor with the blade in it just to chop them up. And they have a little bit of, shape to them, but not much, as you can see. They're almost in a paste form. They have a little bit of, you can see their integrity still left to them, but it's really like a soft paste. And that's 3 cups of raisins, and I use the dark raisins. Okay, now I'm going to put those 3 cups of raisins in and spend some time again beating them in, because you don't want it to be like, a big blob of them. You want them to mix well. So I'm going to turn my mixer on, and I'm going to turn off the speed, so warn you about the sound. Okay, now I'm going to scrape the bottom again of my bowl. Now spend some time really working those raisins in. They will come apart. They will break apart if you use a high enough speed to your mixer. So I'm going to just beat it a little bit more. I'm going to warn you about the sound. Okay, and now the last thing I'm going to do again is to put that soda in. And that was 3 teaspoons to remind you of that. And then just beat that soda in. And I want to get my 12 by 18 pan out. I heavily greased it and also dusted it with flour. Go ahead and use your parchment paper if you prefer, okay? All right, now I'm just going to take my paddle out here. Get rid of the excess. There we go. Okay. Now, this cake is not going to bake up real tall or real high. So I will tell you that when I want it to really be a good size half sheet, I make 2 of them. And I bake them in, of course, 2 pans, let them cool thoroughly on a cooling rack. And then, I put one on top of the other, okay? But of course I put a frosting in between, okay? And again, I'm just going to mix it. Now, when this goes in, you're going to see those raisins. It looks a little bit lumpy. That's okay. You want to get that all out of your mixing bowl. Okay. And then just spread it out as best as you can, getting into those corners. Now you're going to bake this cake at 325, and it comes up relatively quick. Mine come up anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes because all ovens set up so differently. So do start checking it. Now, it will not have a soft top to it. It will bake more of a hard finish to the cake, and I'll show you that in a second. I just want to rinse my hands. But again, 325. Also, I'm sorry I won't have the recipe below the video. Now, I no longer do that because so many people have taken my videos. They brought them to different sites. It's just not worth it for me anymore to do that. And I know I'm not alone. There's so many other people on YouTube are doing the same thing. So I hope I explained it well enough that you can jot it down and get the recipe for this cake. Let me put that aside. Let me rinse my hands. I'm going to show you what it looks like once it's baked up. Now again, to remind you, this is not going to look like your traditional sheet cake. So, you might say, oh, it has a rough finish to it. It doesn't have a very soft crumb top to it. But it has no eggs in it. You have to remember that. It has no sugar in it other than that apple concentrate. But let's cut into it. Let me grab a knife here and a little plate to show you. Now, if this cake, is large enough for what you want it to be, then just, like I said, bake one. But like I said, I generally bake 2 of these. And then I put them together. Yet it really isn't, too small of a cake, but it is so moist and so delicate. I don't know if you can see as I'm pushing down on it. Keep in mind, it's going to, again, have that flat surface, not a traditional looking cake. The bottom will look more like a regular traditional cake. But when you break into it, it's moist, it's not dense, it's not heavy. It really is one delicious cake, especially that there's no sugar in it. I think you'd really like this cake. I really do. Very quickly, I'm going to go through the recipe one more time so that you can jot it down. 3½ cups of all-purpose flour, 3 cups of your chopped raisins in the processor with a chopping blade. You will need 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of baking cocoa, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2/3 cup of any oil you prefer, 1 cup of apple concentrate that has, that isn't frozen, that you let thaw out, 2 cups plus 6 tablespoons plus 4 teaspoons of cold water. And the last thing to put in, of course, is your 3 teaspoons of your baking soda. Bake it at 325 and watch it closely. Try this cake. I hope that you don't judge it too harshly the way it looks, because once you bake it, once you try it and sample it, especially if you are a person that doesn't eat desserts with sugar, it is a great tasting cake. It really is. And like I said, if this doesn't bake up tall enough for you, I make 2 recipes and I double them up, so it makes a larger, a taller cake on the 12 by 18. Okay. Also, I want to, just as a remind you, if you're so inclined, boy, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to my channel or give me a like, and leave a comment, because I love to hear from you. But please watch me solely on YouTube. That's where my videos are. So many times I see these sites where they have taken my work and you write questions or you write a comment and I can't answer you. It is extremely frustrating. So please, if you're going to write to me, remember, watch my videos and write to me on YouTube. Only YouTube. That's the only place that I put my videos on. And there you have it. You've got a sugarless 12 by 18 half sheet cake. I hope you got the recipe. I hope I went slow enough and accurately for you to get that. I always want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and I'll see you soon.